We are live. We are live. It's Monday night and we are live. Hello, hello. Let's get this shared out. I want as many people as possible to fill the room because we have an awesome interview tonight with just the third largest marketplace here on District. We're going to learn all about it. It's called Dibdits. For those of you watching the replay, Dibdits. Stephanie, are you here? I see you join the live. Let me know. All right, let's meet. Dibdits, third largest. Welcome in, JH Shopper. Third largest marketplace here on District. Exclusive interview live now. So guys, I'm just sharing out. I'm going to tag a bunch of people. See here. Let me know if you are here. Tune in to meet Eric, co-founder, and to share and to learn more about live sales and best practices for success. Tune in. Now, okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to tag some people just to make sure that they know we are live. If you are here, again, drop an emoji. Let me know you are here. Welcome in, JH. I see Izzy. I see Jay. Jay, how are you? Izzy, how are you? Drop an emoji and let's get this party started. JH Shopper, what is your first name, my love? So I don't sell as long, or I don't sell as much as other people. So I feel like some of you might be like, you should know me, but I don't know you. Jill. Jill. That makes sense. Hi, Jill. Okay, cool. I'm typing as well because I know some of us, we're doing all the things, so our audio isn't on. So sometimes typing helps because you can read it. So let me tag a bunch of people. Jay, what's up, Jay? What is up? What is up? How was your day? Congrats to Jay. She ended our live sales last night like a champ. I think you sold, how long did you sell, Jay? Like 3 hours? Almost? We like forced you into that because our 10 p.m. seller had a tooth crack. Let's not wish that on anyone, okay? Nobody wants to crack a tooth. Nobody. All right, Bead Goddess, I want to see you in here. Guys, I'm tagging as many people as possible. Let's get Jamie in here. Let's get Jamie in here. Oh, 2 hours. Okay, so you sold for an extra 30 minutes. How was that, though? How was selling for the extra 30 minutes? Were you kind of like, I'm done? Why did they make me do this? They made me do it. Vintage forward. Okay. Tagging people. Hi, Angela. We're doing a really awesome interview, guys. So I'm trying to fill up the room before Eric pops in. We'll also do some brief announcements. Because tomorrow is the first day of April, which is it's always crazy. It's just always like, wait, what happened? But we have a ton of special events planned. And if you have not been selling or not buying with us, April's going to be the month. All right. We have some really great events planned for you guys that we will start booking out literally starting on April 2nd. Alrighty. So I am tagging more people, making sure that people fill the room. And I don't know if he popped in, if Eric popped in. It's just 8 o'clock now. I went live a little bit early. Let's see if David will pop in. David, awesome. So guys, here on District, we do have like a ranking system for top marketplaces. And Dibdit is the third largest marketplace, but they actually have multiple marketplaces under the same brand. And so we're going to learn why tonight. We're going to learn more about the spider web that is the Dibdit Nation. And we're going to meet one of the co-founders because there's actually many co-founders. I wish I could have had them all here doing a roundtable, but I reached out to Eric of OBX PICKER. And he is one of the co-founders and also owns one of the Dibdit, which is the Dibdit Sports Supply. Dibdit also has a clothing marketplace for those of us that are into clothing. And I believe that they have a few other themed marketplaces. So I I'm really looking forward to this chat. Let me see here. Let's see, Maria. Commonwealth, and is that Dave himself? Hi, Dave. Is that Dave? Dave, I am tagging. I'm seeing, I'm waiting for Eric, but I told him that he could wait until like 8:05 so that I could film or fill the room for us. Let's see here. Get Pamela in here. So guys, if you are here, help out the algorithm. Drop an emoji, because all of the communication really helps. Jill, don't worry about it. Do not even worry about it. All right, let me see here. Who else can I tag? Nori. There he is. Hey, Eric, what's up? Eric, let me know like when I'm going to give it like 3 more minutes, but let me know when you're ready. I am tagging up a storm here. And Jay, thank you for dropping an emoji. Guys, I'm going to keep asking you guys to drop an emoji. Drop me your favorite emoji, even if it's the poop emoji. That is okay. Sometimes we need that emoji. Favorite emoji. Susan just dropped a sunflower. Susan's like, no, I will not do that. Oh, man. All right, who else can I tag here, guys? Okay, Noreen, let's get her. Yes, the strong emoji. And guys, if you are tuning in and you're a seller, I always like people to drop an emoji, because it gets the room warmed up. You know what I mean? Where people can pop on. I know Jay and I have talked about this, and you're like, where is everybody? Like, are you guys even here? Like, do I just have ghost viewers right now? Let's get Cheryl in the room. Cheryl is always a good time. There she is. Let's get Cheryl in the room. Okay. So I have a thunderstorm outside, guys. I can't believe it. It is thunderstorming right now. Okay, cool. So one more share, and then Eric, I'm going to bring you on. I don't think I've seen you in the chat yet, but I know once we bring you on, we're gonna have a lot of people pop on. Okay, good. You're here. You're good. You're here. Awesome. All right, let's share this out. Doing all the sharing. And if you guys know someone who isn't here, tag them. Okay, we are live now. So someone once heard me type and said that I should be like a typist for like criminal cases, like in the courtroom. And I'm like, that will be my next career. I will type up all the tea from the crimes. Okay, interview with co-founder of Dibdits, Eric. And Eric, I know you have another marketplace. I did some spying on you, so we are definitely going to talk about that as well. Okay, live now. Great. All right, the room is filling up, guys. Okay, it is 8:05. I'm going to bring Eric on in 1 second. So this is a continuation. We took a little bit of a break. So if you're watching the replay, this is a continuation of a really awesome series where I introduce you to other marketplace owners here on District. District is still a fairly small fry in the live selling landscape, but we have some really, really just incredible people and influencers and, passionate secondhand dealers and wheelers. And Dibdits is one. I always want to say Didbit. We'll talk about that in a second, Eric. But Dibdits is the 3rd largest here on District. And it is actually a spider web of multiple marketplaces. So those of us that are interested in selling other things, definitely keep listening, because you're going to learn about this marketplace. You're going to learn about who Eric is as one of the co-founders, how he got started with live selling, how he got started with resale in general. And we're going to have sort of like a back and forth conversation around what it is to be a good live seller, right? Like, what are the best practices? What are the things that live sellers should be leaning into so that they can be stronger, sell more, and have a better time? And I want to talk to Eric about this because he's been live selling with all of these marketplaces and running them himself. So Eric, I'm going to bring you in like 10 seconds. I'm going to get my questions up. So get ready, my friend. Get ready. All right. Let's see. Where is my... Okay, there we go. All right. Let's meet Eric. Okay. Of course, I can't invite you at this moment. There we go. All right, let's see if this works. We have a slide. Let's see if it works. The anticipation. I heard the connect, but I don't see him yet. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I like the shirt, Eric. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
How's it going? Where are you right now? Are you in the Outer Banks?
I'm in my little home office cave.
Nice. Is
This
this
is where I stream from typically. So
cool?
it's got all the inventory there on the side.
That's what most of our spaces look like. So an
Yeah,
entirely different space than my home, so nobody knows how messy I am.
yeah. Usually it's piled pretty high behind me, but we're actually a little low right now, so that's good.
That's a good. That
Good.
means you're feeling
Yeah,
right.
I actually what it means is I haven't unloaded my car yet from the latest
Right.
haul. That's what it means. Yeah. So
Understood, my friend. Okay, well, this is okay. I am so excited. First of all, thank you so much for coming on to meet the Vintage Jewelry Addicts. We're a community
no problem.
focused on jewelry. We do accessories as well. A lot of our members also enjoy selling clothes. We just don't offer that
I,
here. And I know Dibdits does have a Dibdits Threads that was just launched, so I'm looking
yeah.
forward to more about that. But I want to get started. I mean, there's so much to talk about. Like I want to hear about you, but I want to first start about. I want to hear like what is Dibdits? Like, how did it start?
So
What does the name mean? Why do I keep wanting to say Didbits?
yeah.
And is that part of it? Tell.
So like I mean, honestly, it's kind of an ever evolving story about all that stuff. So like kind of rewind to how Dibdit got started is actually the guys from Trash to Cash. So Kevin, Carrie, and Dave.
Right.
Um, but prior to that, so a long time ago, when Dibdit was very young, um, One Stop Shop. I have a YouTube channel that I do live streaming, basically a working hangout for people who sell on eBay and live sell and do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Poshmark, you name it, cross platform. So it's called Reseller Information Network. It's me and three of my friends
Okay.
that we've all been reselling for a while. So Reseller Information Network on YouTube. So we have a stream, and we used to do a lot of pre-recorded podcast style that was to do with how to resell basics, just asking, questions and trying to give information. We all have different niches that we were into, so it kind of worked. I'm kind of like you know, the jack of all trades, master of some, like
Yeah.
I would say, but that's kind of how I've always been. Usually for me, honestly, one of the strongest things I have is networking and
Yeah.
negotiating. Those are very big things for us. So what happened is I was reached out to by District about our show. They're like, you guys are perfect for what we want to do in District. So oddly enough, when I first talked to them about District, I went in and I started doing some research. There was honestly nobody hardly on the platform. Like it
Yeah.
literally, the only resellers I recognized was Jocelyn,
Yeah.
and Jocelyn had not even launched her marketplace yet. It was there, but it wasn't live. And honestly, Pete, Craigslist Hunter, like he was in the
Yeah.
back room. Somehow or another, I saw his marketplace. I wasn't supposed to be able to see his marketplace. I saw his marketplace. So I'd sold previously on actually my friends that are part of Reseller Information Network, Tim over the years, and Chernot's connection. Both had got approved to sell on Whatnot super
Mm-hmm.
early. And they talked to me about it. And so a bunch of us started selling on that. We got, some of these guys, Dave and Carrie and Kevin and all those guys kind of involved in some of that. And I've known all those guys for a long time. I've actually done very similar to what you're doing right now. Is I did live interview shows on YouTube for a long
Yeah.
time with a lot of resellers. So I have friendships with a lot of these folks. So when I learned about District, I reached out to those guys and I was like, "Hey, you guys should look at this. It may be something." So technically, they launched. We had One Stop Shop. They launched Dibdit, and then basically what we've all done now is kind of come together to form this big conglomeration because we all know each other. We're all friends, and that way we can build together. Like that's kind of is what we've done with Dibdit. So Dibdit literally means like I got dibs. I dibbed it. That's what it is. So that's what it did. That's what the little catchphrase is. It's dibs. Like because we used to joke sometimes at yard sales even about I got dibs. Like on that. If you see something, just messing with each other. So that's how that originated. Actually, Dave, ADH Dave, if you guys know him, that's what it is. I got dibs. So that's kind of how that got started. But like all of that kind of started in a migration towards like let's try out this new platform. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. See what happens. And I really like this. I like the community aspect. One of the things we do in our YouTube channel every Tuesday we stream like from 9 to 12 Eastern every Tuesday, and we just work and hang out and answer questions and. Sometimes we run an auction, like all kinds of fun stuff like that. We've brought people in to interview and guests and all that kind of stuff over the years. So we've done that for about 4 to 5 years. So it's been a minute. So pulling all this together was basically those guys started Dibdit originally just the one marketplace. We had a marketplace, and then as things started to grow, it's like let's add these other marketplaces. So now Dibdit has expanded to different stores, different categories. So like we have Dibdit Sports, which was another marketplace that me and Kevin and Uncle Steve had started just to do with golf. And now we've expanded it into sports supply. We have Dibdit Threads where we sell clothing. Regular Dibdit, it's more to do with pop culture kind of stuff, but a little bit of everything. And Shop Commons, we have that as well. That's under that umbrella. Polish and brush, which is kind of more makeup and that kind of stuff. And then, so Dave has his own marketplace. That's the kitchen marketplace that is under that umbrella as well. And so we're excited. Like it's a lot of different things that we're able to put together and create categories specific for what people like to sell. It's been a journey. So,
it's
sorry.
There's a storm outside, and I got a little bit nervous that you guys.
I was going to say I was about to host your show for a second.
I know. I saw you breaking up, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's probably me.
Yeah.
We had a random thunderstorm roll through. I'm here in Baltimore, and so we had our first summer day, and now they're taking it away from us, and it's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow. So
I got you.
Yeah. But this is okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that because you are a big networker, you are now on District because District found your YouTube show, and then it just spiraled.
Yeah, I mean, I've known. I used to be very, very involved in the reseller community. Like I said, I used to run this show on Friday nights on OBX PICKER YouTube channel, and I would literally we call it Reseller Roundtable, and we did it for probably 2 years, a year and a half, something around that.
Wow.
Every Friday night I had new guests throughout the reselling community. And then, I found out rather quickly that doing YouTube full time is a pretty big time job. So it's fun to go out and film stuff, but you learned how bad you are at filming, and then even how worse you are at editing. So I enjoyed the format of like this, like getting to know people. When I did the Friday night show, it was kind of funny. I learned a lot about what to buy to resell. Because I would interview different guests from different genres that, like, how you guys are big in the jewelry and the vintage jewelry. So typically I would interview somebody on a Friday night, and then, Saturday's garage show day, right? So I would interview someone Friday night and pick up some knowledge, and then I'm out there looking like, oh wow, let's see if I can find some of this stuff on a Saturday. So it's been a long journey, but like we've ran this show, what now we call listing and loafing on Tuesdays. We've ran that for gosh, probably 4 years now. It's kind of a big
Oh,
deal.
wow.
So like we a long time ago, I watched a guy from Australia who was his name's Ken Skeets. I always like to give him credit. Ken Skeets ran
Mhm.
a 24-hour listing challenge, and he listed, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items. Him and a friend of his. Now he does all media, so he listed a lot of stuff. So I'm sitting there looking
Yeah.
at that, like, man, I said, I wonder if I did that, like how much I could do. I said, I can't do 24 hours, but I wonder if I just listed for 8 hours, like set it up, got ready. So I set it up. I went live. I listed for 8 hours. A bunch of my friends popped in who are now part of Reseller Information Network. And, Kevin, this was before Dave was even around or I knew who Carrie was. But a lot of those guys popped in my live stream throughout the day. And I just started listing and listing and listing and listing. And I actually did like 83 in 8 hours. And so for me,
What?
it was like one of those things. I had a lot of people that were like, I'm so inspired by what you did. Like, could we do this every Tuesday? So for a
Yeah.
while, I worked like that on Tuesday, just live and let people pop in and I would talk to them, see what was going on. So that's kind of the
I'm
beginnings of my journey, like with being part of the network, being part of bringing people together. So since then, I've been on a lot of reseller meetups. I've go to a lot of the long yard sales and do that kind of stuff. So I've got to know a lot of people within the community, and so just try to be helpful to those that are coming along and show them the things. So live selling it was kind of a transition, but also like, hey, this is a way to have the community to be a part of what you got going on, like because you get to know
yeah.
your buyers, you get to know things that
Yep.
people like. It kind of creates a sense of community where it's a little bit more than that. Hey, I listed this on eBay. Some random dude bought it. I'm shipping it off to him. Like, so I like that aspect.
I I totally agree with you, and that's so crazy about the live listing marathon because we're thinking about doing a live selling marathon where
Yeah.
I co-host for like 8
Hmm.
to 12 hours and different
Yeah.
people just pop on and sell jewelry for 20 to 30 minutes and maybe I go eat or come back or whatever. I mean, I don't know if I can do it though, but you are inspiring me. I'm like, wait, maybe I could.
Yeah,
If you
you
have
can
any
do it, but like what I did is I just brought people in throughout, and it's so like I was like,
yeah.
man, guys, like I got to step away for a minute, like I got to grab some lunch, like I mean, it's like that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
we did all those kind of things, but yeah, I think I mean really that's one of the great additions. Like when I first started with District, co-streaming was not a thing at all, and it
Yeah.
was a little bit clunkier back then. Like now they've done so many upgrades. One of the things I've always appreciated about these guys, like I don't know who your rep is, but Ivan has always been our guy, and
Yep.
man, they listen. That's one of the great things that I love is that they listen. And when you have suggestions, they're not just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like they actually are working on things. So we've seen a lot of improvements with the site. Co-hosting though is a game changer. I really do believe because you think about the number of people, and I know this kind of gets in further down into our questioning process, but you think about the
No, yeah.
number of people that don't want to go live by themselves. They're nervous about it, right? So when you co-host and then you're able to pop people in, like I've told people on our shows, I was like, even if you want to come in and sell one or two items, just to get comfortable with it. Like if I'm running a stream and you want to pop in, then just let me know. Hey, I've got a couple items. Like I would love to have you come in. Obviously, optimally plan that out to where you have a bunch of people coming in, or like in a raid type situation. But like there may be somebody. Hey, I've got a couple items. This is what I've got, and so like if you want to come in and just get comfortable with it, kind of walk you through it. Like that's what I like about it. Because at heart, I'd really like to help people. And when they have success, it's awesome. Like I'm like, yeah, that's good. So it's one of those
That's a
things.
great. Oh, you're right, Jamie. Yeah, we're struggling. So, well, I love these interviews because they always go different directions. But we must have 200 people apply to sell every 3 months,
Yeah,
and we do a new seller spotlight, and about 6 people sign up for the new
that's
seller
that's
spotlight.
that's about normal. Like I mean, people are.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are just nervous to be on camera. Obviously, like I mean, just the elephant in the room kind of thing is Android. If you guys are listening,
yeah, yeah.
Android.
I know. Ivan,
That
we're
hit a lot of my guys. So so it's one of those things. I know that there's people that don't have that, but then there's also a lot of people that hey, I don't want to be on camera. Like I'm nervous about that whole aspect. So, but
yeah,
it is one of those things. I think people. I've always told people. I mean, honestly, it's for me because I'm used to being on camera, like doing the live stream. So it's not as big a deal. But I also think about like there are people that are more nervous. Like, a lot of people. It's kind of interesting because you can see the different platforms and the different styles that people do it. Like we're doing right now. Like if I was selling something and like holding up items and hey, I've got this sticker for sale, like that
right.
kind of thing. I always tell the guys, I said, don't feel pressure to do that. Like in the beginning, if you want to just show your item, I said, you're not necessarily selling yourself. I mean, you are, but
Yeah.
like most people, they want to see the item. I know I've popped in live streams, and this is just personal, the things I like. If I'm there to buy stuff in a live stream, put your item up. Like, it's great that you went grocery shopping this week and you bought peanuts on sale but hey, I'm here to
Right.
buy stuff and I've got a limited amount of time. I want you to run your stuff. But then there is that balance there because you do want to create a show, like you do want to create. But if you've got good stuff, you don't need a whole lot of banter. If you put it out there, it's gonna move. So
Especially if you run it quickly,
yeah,
right? You're just like moving. I've
mm,
noticed, like, so I sell clothing on Whatnot, and
yeah.
I went from 30 to 20 seconds, and it was a game changer. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, that
Well, you
10
get that
seconds left.
extra.
It's yeah,
I
it made people
Yeah,
jump. Well, it also it moved the sale
yeah,
faster, and it,
yeah,
it made my energy a little bit faster, which I know not
yeah.
everyone wants to be a fast talker,
Right.
but so yeah, so let's talk about, like, especially because you were a static seller. Sorry, I have someone on Facebook. I'm gonna have to find where they are. Um, um, you were a static seller, right? And then you transitioned it into live sales. What have you
Yeah.
noticed for yourself? Like, what have you had to lean into in order to sell more?
I think live sales are a constant moving target, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're pretty. I mean, I always hate to say things that like that's come off as like bragging about anything or anything, but I'll just tell you, like we're pretty creative, innovative. Like there's things that
Yeah.
me and my guys think about a little different. Like my buddy Chernock, he was the first one I ever saw on Whatnot or any live selling feature where he's like winner's choice. Like he was a hat seller. We were running hat shows and he backed this camera up and put up like 15 hats at once. And he's like, okay, here it
Oh,
is, winner's choice. And I was like, so you think about the creativity to that for one, you think about the value of that to both the buyer and the seller, because now you've got 15 choices, right? So, like, how sometimes you run one item. Well, you might have one person that's interested in that item. You might have two people interested in that item. But if you've got 15 choices, the likelihood of you having somebody interested in one of those is good. And
yeah.
for the auction, the person running the auction is great because what you might have is a couple people interested in one thing, a couple people interested in something else, a couple people interested in something else. So now you've got people bidding against each other for an item that may not even be the same item. So like when he come up with that, like we started doing that on a lot of different items, like items, obviously, but just putting that down and running it like that. He was the first one I ever saw do it. Then all of a sudden it was like a lot of people were doing that and catching on. So like there's things like that. Like one of the things we've actually started doing more recently in co-streams, and you might know this or use this strategy yourself. When you're co-streaming, the way District is set up now, like if you're not preloading, which I do advise if you have better stuff to preload it so you can get pre-bids. But
Agreed.
if you're just running a stream with someone else, to make it easy, you can duplicate that listing. So like if you had small, like for you guys, small jewelry item, and the people that are running with you, they have things like that. You can literally just run one listing and boom, 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 just duplicate so you can run faster with more people just with one listing, and it just changes the number constantly. One of the cool things I've seen recently that honestly some of my folks have started doing is they are putting even if it's not a listed item, like even if it's like I do a lot of random auctions because I like to be able to pivot. And so I will do small item, medium item, large item, right? So if I'm running a small item, what I do is I talk about it first before I start, but I move it to the stage as I'm talking about it. Okay, this is the next item is up. It's accepting pre-bids. I've moved it to the stage. I begin to talk about it. Now, what I've seen lately, and I'm actually stealing this from somebody else, they run it to the next item. So that way you're not even wasting that clock running it down to nothing if nobody bids. You're just moving right to the next item. Okay, this is this item, and I'm going to sell this. And if there's interest, go ahead and put a pre-bid. If there's no interest, we'll move to the next item. So then you can kind of move through things. One of the things I've always done is at the end of auctions, and super cheap, and they're going to the thrifty. I'll just tell you that's probably going to be tough for you to sell live auctions for a while. But if you're buying in bulk like me and you don't have a whole lot in items, a lot of times at the end of the show, all the stuff didn't sell, I'll put it on the table and say, here it is, guys, all one money, let's go. and I'll run an auction like that because I don't want to pack things. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to have to go back and say, man, I've pulled all these items for the auction, I'm going to put them back. Now, if they're better, like really good items, then I may put them back. But most of the time what I'll do is at the end, if I'm running a hat auction, the closer I get to the end, I just start making a pile of what I have because I'm like, I don't want to, have to pull this again and run this again. I'd just rather move it and be done with it and then reset my shelves for the next time. So like those are just some tips that I have about like doing the live auction stuff. But be creative.
That's great. I mean, like honestly, like with jewelry, it is possible. It is possible to do that. Like, here's 10 of the items that you guys didn't buy as solos. Now I'm just making up a number on the spot. I'm gonna lay it all out on the table, and we're gonna start it for 10. So and you're so right. We here in Jewelry Addicts, we have also been learning about what does the buyer want, and like all industries, and we can complain, but the truth is we shouldn't complain what we can't control.
Right.
Is buyers are looking for deals, and they're looking for lots. Mm-hmm. They're looking for bundles. So how do we as sellers strategize for that? And inventory debt is real, right? So I love what you're saying, where you're like, rather it not collect dust on my shelves. Let's just move it out. So Eric, I'm curious because I didn't spy on your eBay. I spied on your Instagram. But what do you like selling the most? You would just mention hats, sports hats.
I have affinity to hats, but I'll sell anything. My grandfather was a farmer. My pop And so he used to have a load of hats on the wall at his place because back in the day that was a business card. Like all the farmers, like the seed companies, the fertilizer companies, all them, they would give out hats. So like I have, honestly, it's kind of crazy, but all that is hats. Like basically, like the first two shells, it's loads. It's like at one point I actually did a buy one time and bought 800 hats, but like so I like that. Like that's just a personal thing. Now, if we were talking 3 years ago, hats were big money. Like there's some of the seed hats and stuff that were like huge money. Like some of the stuff now is not as big as what it used to be. I like selling that stuff, but I'm also like, I pick about anything, to be honest. Like it's one of those things I've learned so much over the years. Like there's a lot of things I know more about. On eBay now, I've moved a lot of my things that I don't like to list to live selling. Like there's things now, and there's a lot of things now that I pick up specifically for live selling. Like, hey, I know these are something that my buyers are interested in, and I probably would never buy that, but these people want it. Especially on commons. Like I'm selling quite a bit on commons lately. And so commons is nothing but wholesale. Like it's lots. That's what you sell. And it's actually built to be a sourcing site or a sourcing. So you, as resellers, can go in and say, I need inventory, and here this guy's selling 20 of this, and 15 of this. So I've been doing a lot of that stuff lately, like for everything from electronics to purses to like I can just tell you straight up, I would never buy a purse in person because like the higher end stuff that most people are looking for, I don't know the difference. I know enough to be dangerous, like to think this is real and pay up for it, and then get home and it's not real. So I know more about clothing, particularly men's clothing, and I know a lot more about that. I like to sell boots because they sell well. Yeah, like combat boots, Danner, like a lot of the different boot styles. And as far as that, I used to do a lot of electronics, but I've backed off of that because they're too heavy to mess with. So,
they're heavy. They take up a lot of space.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta
so Commonwealth is not only marketplace. Is that part of Dibdit Nation, or is that separate?
It's under the umbrella for sure. So Commons, we actually run a show, typically myself and Chernock, on Friday nights all the time, and it's basically we always tell people to go in that chat and like if there's things you're looking for, we might have them. Like I've actually been selling a lot of yarn over there lately because I hit a load of yarn, like tons of it. So I was like, I've been selling that because people that are crafters are people that honestly, I had somebody that bought a couple of my yarn lots. Say like, man, I've already doubled my money on this yarn. I was like, perfect, that's great. Like so, it's one of the things. Like, would I list yarn on eBay? Probably not. But there are people that will, and the price is right. So it's one of those things.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. This it's so funny that you bring this up because I was debating launching another marketplace. I'm putting a pause on it because I'm pretty busy, but it was going to be wholesale vintage.
Yeah.
For resellers to buy from other resellers because there's so much. And a lot of us are trying to sell it piece by piece and it takes freaking forever.
Yeah.
So it's just so on Dibdits though, you said it was more of like a pop culture marketplace. So if our jewelry addicts were to pop over there right now, what would be some things that they would find for sale? Or what could they sell there?
A lot of the stuff is more retro, 80s, 90s, like toys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like video games. Media, tons of media, like different, genres. Like you notice how a lot of hard media, like physical media, a lot of that's starting to make its way back because, like, you think about even oddly enough, like I've been selling Blu-rays lately, which is kind of crazy, but people, I guess, want them again. Cassettes, CDs,
Yep.
like things that you're like, and you know what I think it is? I think it's just the overwhelming streaming situation. Like, hey, I've got to have 10 different streaming services to watch or listen to what I want to. So I think a lot of people are just like, you know what? I would just rather have it. And retro's back. So like a lot of that stuff, pop culture, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in the process. I mean, honestly, we haven't really officially launched, but we're going to do more of a, I guess you'd call it almost like a estate sale situation. So where it'd be like more tchotchke stuff, more glass, and things ephemera, like things that if you walk into a estate sale, you're like, okay, like this is the good stuff at the estate sale. So we're kind of looking at that too. So we may just So those are the kind of things that we've looked at. We basically trying to like. There's a crew of us involved in all that, so it's kind of like, okay, if we can, capture what everybody's specialty is and put that to where we can have people that know a little bit, and then a lot of us know a lot about stuff, different things. Like my buddy Tim, over the years, oddly enough, he's a sports card guy, and he knows as much about glass as I've ever seen. Like I've literally. With him, I've sent pictures of things that I've seen at sales, and he literally is like, "Oh, that should be a Federal Glass, like blah blah blah, this pattern." And I'm like, "Wow, how do you know that just from this picture?" Like, and he'd be dead on. And then my buddy Chernock is everything vintage clothing. Like he's forgot more than most people know. Like he literally is the same way with that. Like I've sent him pictures of boots or hats or shirts or jackets or pants, and he's like, "Oh, that's this brand. It sells for about like this," and and then the other guy that's on there with us, which we really try to get him onto live selling, but he's not there yet. He knows everything about tools and a lot of other things like RC cars and like random things. So I just, for me, I kind of learn from a lot of other folks, and I've picked enough to know, like I know with jewelry, obviously has its own market, and I'm sure you could walk into say this is costume, this is so. Jewelry's something I've never been very good at. At one point, I bought about 25 pounds of jewelry at a yard sale.
Nice.
For cheap, and I reached out to people I knew that knew jewelry, and they're like, "Look for Mark jewelry, put that aside." And then like I've never had loops or anything at yard sales, so I'm just like, I don't know, like, but I just picked up a bunch of that and sold it in bulk out to other folks. But that's what I ended up doing. But I did learn, because like I always tell people, it's good if you can buy stuff in bulk. You pay for an education essentially, because even things that I sell on here a lot of times, I will at least look through it. Like one of my ideas on eBay, and this is just what I do, is you can use it to learn things. Like I bought a bunch of paperweights a while back.
Oh, cool.
And one of the cool things is, because we have our Tuesday stream, and we usually have about 40 to 50 people in there on Tuesdays. And so when we're in there, like you can basically do some show and tell. Hey, I picked this up this weekend, and a lot of those guys know that stuff. So I picked up all the paperweights, and I'm like showing them. They're like, "This is a White Fair. This is they were showing it, telling me about that stuff. So then I just started going on eBay, and I'm like, okay, White Fair paperweight, and I'm like just going down and see if I find, and I'm pricing high to low and seeing what's good, what's not so good. Just figure that stuff out. So
that's awesome. And so your Tuesday show is on what's the name of the channel? Because I'll put the link in the comments.
Reseller Information Network.
Reseller Information Network. I'm gonna find it right now. I love that. We totally do something like that for Jewelry Addicts. Amazing.
So we do live every, like I said, it's every Tuesday. So tomorrow we'll be on in the morning, 9 a.m. If you guys are in here watching, or you're watching, replay, and you want to pop in, like, love to have you. We'll have to have you on the show sometime to come.
I would love to.
Jewelry.
Yeah, and talk about jewelry, women's vintage clothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, what is tricky about jewelry? Like I was thinking to myself, like that 25 pounds, like you could have had a couple of gems in there. But like you said, if you're not educated, you're not educated. It just looks like jewelry. It just looks
Yeah.
like
It looks
something.
like work. It
Nothing
also
special.
looked like I had to untangle like a
Ah,
knot.
worst. The worst. Some people it's very relaxing,
Yeah.
calm to soothe them. But yeah, no, it's its own thing. But no, the estate sale marketplace sounds awesome. Ephemera is, to my knowledge, really making a comeback. I sell in person.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I will start selling ephemera because I think people also, and I mean, I'm more of like a clothing seller, but it's just like they're just over adding stuff to their wardrobes. Like everybody knows how to thrift, everybody, you know what I mean? But like ephemera is like more special. And
Yeah.
like you said about everything
More
retro,
personal.
it's
Yeah.
just more
Like
personal. It's
yeah.
housewares, but not kind of. But yeah, I had another question for you that had come up in our conversation, so I might have to think of that in a second. But I wanted to ask you, we talked about all of the marketplaces. Yes. Okay. So Dibdit as the conglomerate started about 2 years ago. What do you guys want for the future? Like, what is your vision for the brand?
I mean, honestly, like as a whole, we would like all those marketplaces. The biggest challenge in selling on district in any live selling is the customer reseller. Like trying to balance that, right? Because oftentimes we do because we are resellers, we know resellers, right?
Yeah.
But because we all sold statically before, it's not like you have a customer base that you're pulling in. So it
Yeah.
really, I guess, is really coming to that. Trying to keep the margin of that to a place to where people can make money. By
Yes.
selling on the site, obviously. We honestly, I know you sell on Whatnot and whatever about that.
Tell
Like
every- Yeah.
we've all done it as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, like our thought process is to be like the number one live selling situation. Like that's where we want to be. It's like we want to promote
Awesome.
district in that way. We want Dibdit network to be that way. Like that's just where we all have this mindset of like, hey, what can we do to grow this thing, and not just for our benefit, but for all. I'm a big fan of that rising tide rises all ships. Like I really do think as a network, I know that we are individual marketplaces and we all have our own little niche and just like with YouTube, like you have your ride or die folks that I'm with this and I'm gonna ride it, and then there's people that go around and say, hey, what fits? I'm a big fan of supporting marketplaces. I'm buying on district all the time from other folks because like, hey, if I need something, I'd rather support resellers than
Yeah.
Walmart. To be honest, like that's just how I am, or whatever, Amazon, those places. So I try to do that, and then I also try to, with new resellers that people that are just launching on the marketplace, I try to be supportive to them, and on the other side of it, there are deals to be had like in these
Yes.
marketplaces. Like you can
Yes.
find something you could actually turn and flip on eBay if you want to mess with it and do well.
Oh
But
yeah.
and, and
These
if
things
you come to
happen.
Commons, like you're gonna find deals anyway because we're selling in bulk over there, and I'm
I am.
very like nothing thrills me more
Yeah.
than like I always tell people I said just tag me on Instagram if you sell something good like that you bought from me, or like I haven't been near as active on the rest of my social media in a while, but it is something I'm trying to move a little bit more into is
Yeah.
getting back on track with that. But I love hearing from like I had somebody the other day. I had sold some man, I always butcher what it is. I think it's manga. Does that sound right? Like it's the like Japanese books, like kind of like comic book kind of things, but everything's written backwards in there.
Oh,
So
fantastic. I'm not familiar.
yeah, it's like Japanese comics type stuff. But those things are valuable. They're books. You'll see them at different places, but they're pretty valuable. Some of them can be pretty valuable. Well, I had like a box load of that stuff, a huge box load. And I was like, and so I was like, I've had these things for 2 years. They've been sitting in a box. I haven't done anything with them. I put them up. I ran them on Commons one night. A guy bought one. He said, dude, I sold one of those books out there for $50. I was like, awesome. Like, I'm glad, because I said I wouldn't, that thing would have sat there another 2 years before I'd even looked at it. To be honest. Like that. But that's the kind of stuff that for me, I'll tell you the beginning of how things have transitioned for me with live selling.
Yeah.
When I first started and honestly, I was on Whatnot. I'm in the vintage clothing category, and I'm selling a ton. We actually, by the way, we launched a few marketplaces, some of me and my friends, and Whatnot categories. Like we were the first. So,
no way.
Yeah, Chernock and Tim were some of the early guys in vintage clothing. I actually helped launch the Lego category. At one point, me and one of my buddies bought an entire like storage facility that had Lego stuff. And so we sold Lego for months and basically kicked that thing off. So like there's things like that we've done. But when I was selling vintage clothing, I was having a great show one night on Whatnot. And I mean, things were moving. Everything I was putting up was selling more than what I expected it to. And so I had bought a sporting goods inventory from a guy that called me one day and said, hey, the leftover inventory here, would you be interested in purchasing it? And it was honestly like one of those leap of faith moments. Like I spent like $750 and the guy rolled up to my house with a trailer load. And at the time, like I was a baby reseller. I was like, man, $750 is like my budget for the month, like to buy stuff. And so he brought it up there. There was cool stuff in there that sold. I literally had my money back in less than 30 minutes, like when I started listing. But are you familiar with like the puffy starter jackets, like the old school?
Yes.
Yeah.
No way.
So I had 2 boxes full of them that were brand new, and they were all that era of stuff. Like it had Miami Hurricanes, it had Notre Dame, it had like all the big names, schools, colleges. It had the Charlotte Hornets, which was a great one. It had, a bunch of that kind of stuff. So I was having a great show. So I was like, man, you guys have been good to me. I'm going to pull a good item. Being that they're, honestly, I'm thinking to myself, being that they're spending up, like I'm expecting to get $100 some for this jacket. So I pulled out one of my better jackets. I said, guys, I'm going to run this. I'm going to start it at $1. Let's go. And man, they were bidding it, and it hit $40 and just stopped. Like nobody bid. And I'm literally, I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I'm thinking to myself, I could have sold that jacket for $200 on eBay, like pretty quickly if I'd have listed it. And I'm like holding that thing up. I ended my show. I was honestly mad. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I've been having this great show. I put up a great item and these guys don't do anything. And so I was like, okay, guys, that's it for me. And I'm out of here. And I'm like steaming after I get off. I was like, dude, I don't even want to ship this to this guy. And I just want to refund my $40. So I had that different mindset. Well, fast forward to now. And the longer you're a reseller, the longer that you pick, if you're picking in places like I do all over the place, you'll find more. And I had to get to that mentality. I don't have to squeeze every dime out of every item. There's more than enough. Like I can go out tomorrow and get more. So now in having that mentality, it helps with the live stream because now, honestly, I don't care. Like if someone gets a deal every now and then from me, awesome. Congrats, you got a deal. Now, does that mean if I'm not getting any bids, am I going to stay live for 2 hours? Probably not.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably going to cut that stream off in about 30 minutes in and say, okay, guys, we're going to try it another day. But what it has done for me is it's given me freedom to be able to sell and to give people great deals, because a good auction is made up of, sometimes the auctioneer has to win, sometimes the buyer has to win, and if neither one of them are winning in an auction, it's going to be a rough day. Like I said, because if it's all the auctioneer, like I see, I go on live stream sometimes and people start their starting bid at ridiculous. I was like, you're just not going to sell it, man. Like you can start it whatever you want, just like you can ask for whatever you want for an item, but do you want to sell it, or do you want to, And then the other thing is just having that mentality of like, hey, I'm willing to flip this and turn it into something else, because I'm gonna find more. Like if you can keep burning through items, like you're gonna find more. I mean, if you're looking, you're gonna find more, and if not, just come to comments and we'll hook you up. Like
Right. Just
so,
buy from comments.
yeah,
I totally agree with you. I mean, I think that with some jewelry items, if you know the value, don't start it at $1 if you don't have the following. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm like, because of the 30 cents fee and the transaction fee and all of it. And we have actually sold pieces. Our highest sale has been $1,500.
Wow.
Yep. So that was a opal 14 karat gold. Sterling sells really well here. So, but I mean, these are pieces, the buyer knows what it is. They're still getting a deal, quote unquote. And then we have the sellers that run buyer's choice, $8, and then it gets bid up because, like you said, they have a table full of items, served. So, but I love what you're sharing though, Eric, because again, I think it's all about the attitude going into the live sale. You have a nasty attitude in any shape or form where you are expecting something from the audience, you're more than likely not going to get it. If you have an attitude of I'm here to give and to have a good time, no expectations, or like you said, if nothing's happening after 45 minutes, like, oh, I'll see you guys again, thanks so much, like things do happen, but it's ebbs and flows. Like we noticed last weekend, I had to get my taxes done with my husband, and then that weekend we had low sales in the marketplace, and I'm like, I bet everyone just finished their taxes, had to pay, had to do something, and then this weekend it was like, it was great. It just goes up and down. And so I try to tell my sellers, like, you can't force the sale. All you can control is you. And that's,
I think people pick up on the negativity too. Like one of the things that turned me off with a lot of the whatnot stuff is that I got tired of people yelling at me. For like the whole guys. I used to go buy cards on there, and honestly, in the vintage clothing category, there's a lot of that stuff too, where people are just screaming at you constantly. It's like QVC on steroids kind of stuff, like where people are like, oh, you're stealing this from me. I can't believe you guys aren't been, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm just not about it. Like, I'm like, hey, man, like, I understand what you're doing, guy, but, I like, that's why I've gravitated more over here. I actually had Whatnot reach out to me a while back about, like, hey, you haven't run a show in a long period of time. And they were just talking to me. And I just told them openly about some things that I just really have. I know shoes, like I sell shoes, and there's honestly a lot of fakes that are hitting the place. And so, like, that's one of the other things I really like about District, is because being involved in the ownership side of it, you can help control that. Like I said, so there is consequences. There's not like, I mean, I've been on there where a guy was showing a Nike Dunk that StockX. Are you familiar with StockX? You know what that is?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Eric, do you hear me? You froze for me.
That's straight fake. And these people are eating it up. So Yeah,
I
it
just
is one
your
of those
story.
things.
I just missed your story because you froze. Okay, so it was
Uh,
like a fake and it was
yeah,
essentially.
because like the guy had, Nike Dunk, like, so this was like a rare Nike
Yeah.
Dunk, and StockX had one listing, and the guy said he popped on the show and he's like, "I've got size runs of this from 8 to 12. Like, tell me what size you want." I was like, "Bro, there's no way you have that.
There's
Like, there's no, but Nike store don't even have it. Like, there's no way you have that. They've got to be fake. Like, and I've seen that, and honestly, I've bought some stuff before that was fake on there that I was like, dude, this is like, it doesn't check out. So I just, for me, like having that extra layer of control, like, hey, if somebody buys something that's fake, that you can kind of reach out to the seller and say, like, this ain't what we do here.
this isn't cool.
We're not.
Keep
Yeah,
it moving. Yeah. We say no to like Alibaba white label. So you can't go
yeah,
make your own, sell it here. You can't be part of like
yeah,
a networking company and
yeah,
sell here.
yeah,
But of
yeah.
course, like unfortunately, there's now like all of these lookalikes that are from modern
Oh, and
companies.
some of the fakes are good. Like, they
Yeah,
look good.
it's hard.
Like, yeah, I've been fooled by some stuff. Like, fortunately for like things like shoes and stuff, there is apps that'll help you. Like, we use one for sneakers called Check Check. That you take several pictures. It costs $3 to check it. So like higher end
Yep.
sneakers, you can do that, and then yeah. So I mean, there's things to help prevent. Yeah, I just I really do foresee this being the way things go in the future. I see live streaming being a bigger
I
part
agree.
of sales. I mean, you see it now. Like, eBay is starting to try to move in that direction to a degree. Posh has tried it.
Yep.
I just think a lot of those guys are behind. It's kind of like we were talking one day about. That's the cool thing about being a part of district right now, because it's small enough that they can still pivot on things quicker. I always equate it to like a boat, right? Like, if you're in a little
Yeah.
speedboat, you turn that thing pretty quick. But if you're on an aircraft carrier, like, it's going to take you a little while to get turned around. So that's kind of what it looks like with the bigger marketplaces trying to do live streaming. But,
So true. I was just saying, I think we have a seller coming on at like 9. But yeah, having worked with districts, I think the most valuable thing that I've noticed is that, like you said, if there is a mistake, if it's shipping, if it's a counterfeit by mistake, if it's you ship the wrong thing to the wrong person, there's more leniency here to fix it because we're only
yeah,
human.
right.
Whatnot in particular doesn't really like when you make any mistake.
Yeah,
Um, like I hate that I can't just refund a customer
right.
because they don't like it, but they're a longtime customer and I'm okay with it. But
Yeah,
well, that's like a strike or whatever. At least last time I checked.
yeah,
So, here on district, it's like, hey, if you know, don't even want to use the shipping software, you don't have to. You can use
right.
Pirate, and so
Well, I think a lot of people too don't realize that, like, over here, there's no fee on the shipping.
right, right, with the commission, yeah.
Fee on shipping as well, like whatever percentage that is. Whereas, like, that's one of the great things I love about District is like you said, you can use your own shipping if you prefer to use Pirate Ship or whoever. I've actually been using this thing lately called Parcel Path, which I really like.
Okay,
But yeah,
parcel.
yeah, I just tried it out. They have like it's different because basically it shows you where all your packages are on one dashboard, so you can be like, oh, I've got
Oh,
3 in transit, 3 delivered. It's kind of cool. I'll send you a
that's
thing.
cute. Yeah,
But
send me a affiliate link. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Well, it's 9 o'clock, Eric. We've been talking here for an hour and I'm afraid I'm gonna lose you. It might be me, I don't know, but like you're like freezing a little bit.
yeah,
But this is so informative, and I want anyone who's here live or tuning into the replay. There's so many Dibdits communities. Go join the Dibdits main community, and then in my host notes, I also have what Eric founded, which is the One Stop Supply.
One-stop shop. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I call it One Stop Shop?
Yeah. I have 2 marketplaces like that we kind of
Yeah.
started that, and District Sports Supply, which is more like equipment, like pretty much like anything. Like we sell a lot of golf clubs over there, baseball stuff, like that kind of stuff's where we're starting. But we're headed into. We would love to find somebody who has access to pickleball stuff. Because pickleball is so huge right now. So if anybody is on that pickleball front, let us know. We might be able to do something. And then, yeah, like I would suggest, follow tomorrow on the Dibdit Network. Tomorrow, we are doing a giveaway raid train across all the marketplaces. So
oh my gosh.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a crew of us that'll be going live. Actually, I'll give you the time so that everybody knows and where it starts. Because once you start, it's basically like 5 minutes per marketplace. And so they'll do two giveaways and move it to the next one. So,
Is that smart? So you guys, it's so that people can join. Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
yeah. Yeah, we're doing giveaways. So if you go to Dibdit, the main Dibdit, then at 2:00 tomorrow Eastern, 2:00 Eastern will be the first rotation. So we go through all marketplaces twice, and every item from 2:00 to 3:10 tomorrow will be for free. Like it'll all be giveaways. So
check that out there. I'm gonna check that out. So you guys just cross marketplace, right?
Yeah,
You're just
we have it to where we can raid to each other. So we'll start at Dibdit, and then it'll run all the way through. So like Dave's Kitchen Market, Dibdit Threads, Dibdit Sports, Dibdit Cards, Polish and Brush, and then Commons, and then we'll recycle through again one more time.
Okay.
So I'll be on there giving away stuff on the sports tomorrow afternoon, like 2:40, 2:45. But yeah, come by, get some free stuff. And then Thursday we have a raid train on Threads. So if you're looking for clothing, so Dibdit Threads will be running clothing. Actually, I'm doing like sports jerseys, tees, hats, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Okay, so guys, it's a giveaway train. We should totally do one of those too. I'm just like stealing all of your ideas tonight. To be like,
we only charge a 10% commission, so like don't worry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, right? 10% from anything I sell from here on forward.
Yeah.
But you should definitely think about a Dibdits, Threads, Jewelry Addicts, cross marketplace raid train. I think that's an appropriate, especially if you guys start to more femme dealers. The sportswear, it would translate as well. Although I sell sportswear when I can in person, because I live in Baltimore and it's just a thing here.
So Dibdit Threads is pretty much anything clothing, shoe. I've ran shoe shows there. Hats, jackets, sweaters, like anything clothing related. Dibdit Threads. So yeah, we're coming, but keep an eye out. Next couple weeks we'll have the vintage stuff like the estate sale.
That's right. We should definitely do that. Yeah, we've been doing cross marketplace trains with get to know other sellers, to get to know other marketplaces, so that we can share.
That's good. So did you just set that up with? Is Ivan your guy or is it somebody else?
Sienna.
Okay, yeah, I knew her as well. So they, one time we've done that with other marketplaces, and they were able to, they facilitated it. Like we have ours set up now to where we can just do it automatically with each other. Like it's not
Yep.
always the case. Like you kind of have to do it a little different for a while. But yeah. Well,
Yep.
I enjoyed hanging out with you. I'll shoot you a message. Honestly, if you're around on Tuesdays, just shoot me a text or whatever on the message.
I would love that.
Yeah, we pull you in, hang out with us for a little while. You can talk jewelry.
Talk jewelry or list or show you guys. I have a square foot showroom. It's like a glorified warehouse.
Nice.
I can show you guys. But no, Eric, thank you so much. Congratulations to you and everyone on the team for being the third currently largest marketplace. But I hear your mission. You guys are on your way to number 1 in the world. And when I come across some more things to sell, I'm definitely going to start selling with you guys. And anyone who's tuning in again, please give a thank you to Eric for all of his time behind OBX Thrifter, YouTube, and 2 marketplaces are linked in the host notes. Dibdit is the main one, and they're going to be hosting a giveaway grade train starting at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So definitely hop on board that. Eric, thank you again.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. We will talk soon. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.